Alright, here's my Ranger since I'm finally home. Just put my phone in my pocket for now. So there's a lot going on in here. This actually has a Raspberry Pi screen. It's pretty much has a computer on it that is an interface with a ECU. I have a little relay board here for a couple of miscellaneous things. We got fuel pump, all the 12-volt sensors, and the engine bay. I actually have some stuff for if I ever put any more gauges in here, like this one right here. This is actually a custom 3D printed AFR gauge. I actually know who makes it, and I will send you their name so you can inquire about that. Actually, he has a website now, so I can send a link on that. But enough of this boring interior. These bucket seats, this one's got some rodent damage on it, but these bucket seats are actually out of another Ranger. That's actually why I like these. They have some pretty nice lumbar support for just being stock Ranger seats. This didn't have a headliner when I got it, but we'll go to the engine bay before I go ahead and start it, because then you won't be able to hear me. So in the engine bay here, it's a little bit of whatnot. So, is actually, I just custom painted this manifold and it got rubbed on a long time ago. You can actually see it says Ranger here. It was meant to match my old purple truck, but I actually have another manifold somewhere around here that actually fits on it, and it's blue to match the Ford blue. But this is actually fuel pressure regulator with a vacuum line. This is actually a GM 3-bar map sensor right here. All the other sensors, like this coolant one right there, this intake air temp that's right here, those are GM sensors. Still uses the stock IAC. This is my crappy made wiring harness, but it does work. Here's my fuel lines. This is a whole AN fuel system with quick connects right here, just so I don't have to loosen them all the time. There's the big boy turbo. This is actually a 2-3 alternator. I kind of messed up when I was making this. So the 4.0 alternator will actually kind of rub right here. You can see it's like a tight fit now. But actually, this is a automatic trans radiator. You can still see the old, I had an AN fittings on it. This has a air to water intercooler. You can see right here, it kind of just sits gravity. It actually doesn't touch the water pump pulley. This is actually this is the radiator for the Charge Air cooler, and I get free Mercedes coolant since I work at a Mercedes dealer, so it's always filled with Mercedes blue. My overflow tank is a Brisk tea bottle that has been converted. Probably a little difficult to see, but it's my overflow. 20 wastegates. I went with 2 because this is at a 90-degree angle, so it doesn't have the best airflow to vent out. Soon I'll have a MAC valve so I can use these top ports here and make more boost. Currently there's no air filter on it, and this one is actually really old, so it does have some shaft play. Here's a little catch can, and I made sure to get the exhaust heat wrap so it doesn't melt this thing, because it already melted up once before when I was laying on the 2-step here. But yeah, stock 4.0 manifolds. They have been flipped. Yeah, and here's the LS coils. I made brackets, but it leaks through everything, so I've been battling oil leaks this whole time on this truck. I have a little relay block here as well. I went a little overboard with the wiring, honestly. One of these is for one bank of injectors. There's another bank of injectors that's used. One's for the coil packs, and one is for the alternator. And there is a electric cooling pump in here for the Charge Air cooler, radiator and whatnot. And it's hard to see, but in between here there's an electric radiator. Of course, that's how it stays cool. Yeah, and then let's go start it, and I can show you how the screen boots up. My cold start isn't the best, or yeah, the cold start isn't the best. I still have to give it a little bit of gas when I'm starting it, otherwise it'll just fall on its face and die. They got that warming up. Now we got a good idle-ish. So once this is loaded, normally it doesn't take too long. It's surprisingly responsive for what it is. I have it to where it'll automatically load my software and everything, and I actually made this gauge cluster for it. It actually works fairly well. So you can see I got a little boost gauge there. It gets at about 5.5 psi max, and this of course is the fuel cell. Inline fuel pumps all underneath the exhaust. Runs along there. These are on the stock 14s, by the way, but they're like super old. I honestly need to get them replaced before I want to do anything super crazy with it. But hey, this thing's pretty cool. Yeah, all tuned by myself. Surprised it's still running pretty darn good, honestly. Let's go up more. Oh yeah, and then of course I have to have, you know, launch control and flat shifting. So when I push the clutch in and give it a certain amount of throttle, you can see it'll activate. So yeah, this thing's actually, it's a fun truck. It's a fun truck.